The scary thing is I've had clients that came to me, I don't want an ugly mic, quote, I don't want an ugly mic in front of my face for the video. And I'm like, it's not really the video that's the most important. The audio quality is the most important.
Most hosts never achieve the results they hoped for. They're falling short on listenership and monetization, meaning their message isn't being heard and their show ends up costing them money. This podcast was created to help you grow your listenership and make money while you're at it. Get ready to take notes. Here's your host, Adam Adams.
Hey, podcaster. It is your podcast coach, Adam Adams. And here are 8 things that you need to do if you want to sound like a pro on your podcast. Let's go Jay Leno style. Let's go backwards in reverse order to end with the best, because last the best of all the game. 8 things. Number 8, you need to prep for the episode. So you need to figure out the outline. You need to figure out what you're talking about. You need to figure out, who is your avatar? What do they need to know? And kind of outline out, like, is there 3 things? Is there 8 things that they need to know about this subject? If you go into an episode prepared and ready, you're not going to say or and so nothing's really going to have to get cut out. You're going to go in feeling more comfortable, and then you're going to be able to be yourself, which is later on in these numbers. So when you're thinking about the outline, also think about hook, story, offer. Just write that down. So if you want to prep for an episode, not only do you need to know what are the 3 top things or the 8 top things that you need to do for this subject, also figure out, how am I going to start that episode? Like, am I going to ask a question? Am I going to give some crazy statistic? How am I going to grab the attention of my listener? And then we go into the story. The middle part of your episode, the longest part of your episode, is the story. This is where oftentimes you might actually use a story to illustrate your point. And then you go into the offer, and the offer doesn't need to be an actual offer. It can be any type of call to action, So when you're looking at hook, story, offer, that offer is, hey, today you learned the 8 things you need to do to sound better on your microphone so you can sound like a pro and feel better about yourself. Now I want you to go and implement these things. For example, might be an offer, a call to action at the end of an episode. Number 8, that was number 8, sorry. Number 7, you need to get in the zone. So how do you get in the zone? One of the things that I do almost every time I go to record a podcast, especially when I need it, and I did it today. What that focus is getting in the zone, is closing your eyes, maybe even meditating, maybe even doing a little bit of breath work, or even just 1 or 2 slow breaths while you're thinking about your avatar. You're visualizing that person. So my avatar might be Corey or Pat or Sam. As I think about Sam, I think about, what is she going through? What does she look like? What does she need? And as I think about that, I'm like, all right, I'm channeling her. I'm channeling my energy to be able to fit with that energy that she has so she can absorb the content that she needs. So I get in the zone, maybe a couple of breaths at least. Think about, look at your avatar and go from there. Number 6 is you want to be natural, be yourself. What is that thing? Be beautiful. And the U is Y-O-U, beautiful. And when we think about that, it's, you are your own unique person. Nobody else in the world is like you. So don't try to be like some other influencer that you heard. You need to be able to find out who you are, how you come across with your friends, with your family, when you're out with the boys or out with the girls. Who are you at that time? And try to be as authentic as possible. So number 6 is to be natural, be yourself. We can smell bullshit. We can smell it when you're trying to be somebody that you're not. Even if we can't consciously know for a fact that something's off, we subconsciously feel it. And it makes it really challenging for us as your listener to be able to end up hiring you or doing anything like that with you. Maybe even keep and continuing to listen to the podcast could be difficult if you are not yourself. So be beautiful. Number 5 is your energy level. Be thinking about an energy level. And the way that I coach my clients I help people launch podcasts. I help people grow their podcast and grow their influence. When I sit there with somebody, one of the main things that I'll look at is how is their energy? Because a lot of the times we come to a podcast microphone, like the one that's in front of me right now. We come to this microphone and we forget that there's a human being on the other side. And we think that we need to be quiet because somebody else in the room or somebody in the other room might be able to hear us. Oh, crap. Somebody might be able to hear us. In a way, we lean back, we calm down because we don't want to sound too overly energetic to anyone, especially our friend or our family who's in the next room. So we tend to back off. And if you come at a podcast with an energy level of a 4 out of 10, let's just say this is a sliding scale of 10 and 5 is normal. Okay. Think about 5 being the average. And you are just barely under average on how you're projecting it because somebody's in the other room or you think you're just talking to a microphone. And so you're just not in that same energy level. Well, what's going to happen is over the microphone and over the headphones of your listener is going to hear you at 1 or 2 levels below where you actually are. If they hear you a level or 2 below and you are barely below average, you're at a 4, they're going to feel like you are sad or angry or you don't even want a podcast anymore because you come across as a 2 or 3 out of 10. So when we think about energy levels, you want to go a little above. Now, I am not talking about hitting a 9 or a 10. Please understand. If you come in and give an energy level of a 9 or 10, you're not going to meet your listener where they are. You're going to be overly amped, overly excited. You're going to come across as somebody who's crazy, too happy. And it goes to number 6, where you're now sounding fake. You're not yourself. You're not being natural. You're not being the person that you are when you talk to your friends or your family. So in number 5, when we talk about this energy level, I want you to focus on a level 6 or 7, maybe an 8 every now and again, but it's really going to be focused on a 6 or a 7. I work on my energy coming out of me right around a 7 because I want you to perceive it as average or a little above average, but not overly energetic, right? So that's number 5, your energy level. Come across, try to portray it as a level 6 or a level 7. So slightly above average. That way you're going to come across as about average. You're going to come across as, oh, this is a person that I can get along with because they're not way too happy and they're not Eeyore over here for those of you who watched Winnie the Pooh. Number 4 is you could use headphones. And remember, these are the 8 biggest things to help you sound like a pro. And number 4 is using headphones. And you are wondering why. Sometimes there's 2 reasons. Sometimes if you have headphones, then the person, if you're interviewing somebody and their voice basically comes out of your speakers, it could go back into your microphone and have a circular spiral, a tornado, and it just goes down and down and down because of that echo, that reverb, that interference where their voice is going into your mic as well. It can create this echo chamber that is horrible. So wear headphones for that reason. And what's the second reason for you to wear headphones? What do you think it might be? What do you think is going to benefit you as a podcaster if you want to sound like a pro? It's because you can actually hear yourself. And it's weird for some people. I've coached 100+ people that have gone through Grow Your Show, and they come in and so many of them say, no, Adam, I don't want to hear myself. I don't want these headphones to put my own voice back in. It's awkward, a couple of them had said. It's weird, a couple of them have said. And the third thing is, I don't like the sound of my freaking voice. I don't like the way that I sound. I think that I sound really good, but then I put on my microphone and my headphones and I sound like this weird person, or I don't think I have a radio voice. So they've got these excuses why not to wear headphones. But number 1, you can't afford to have that reverb, that echo, that downward spiral, that tornado of terribleness. And number 2, if you have the opportunity to hear what you sound like, you're going to be able to have better mic technique. You're going to be able to be as loud or quiet as you need because you can, on the spot, you can understand how you're coming across and it will benefit you. Number 3, you need to figure out what room you're in. A lot of the times, a bad recording can happen because you're recording in the wrong room. So be thinking about a room with maybe carpet, maybe even treating the walls, a couple of blankets, a bed. I've even put blankets on my desk, and that helped it to be able to make sure that I had less things that could echo and that those blankets or the blanket could absorb some of that sound and just let it stay there. So I had sounded more just like my voice. Number 2. Oh, let's go back to number 3. Think about tile, linoleum, windows, non-porous walls. These things have the sound echoing off of them a lot easier. So think about the room you're in. The kitchen, probably not the best room. The closet, probably a very good room. Not that you really want to do your podcast in a closet, but you can. And the clothes that are up help allow the only thing that your listener hears is your voice. Number 2 is your mic technique. So how you use the mic is the second to the most important thing you can do, regardless of what mic you use, regardless of what room you're in, regardless of if you're wearing headphones or not, regardless of your energy level or if you're in the zone or if you prepped for your podcast. The number 2 thing that can benefit you to be able to sound better to your listener, to your potential client, hopefully your listener will hire you, is how you use the mic. So I'm going to give you a couple of tips and tricks. Whatever kind of mic you're using, I want you to be as close to that mic as possible. Now, if you are using your headphones, it will help you figure out the mic technique. So if you are doing number 4, it'll also help you with number 2. You want to be about 1 or 2 fingers away from your mic. 1 or 2 fingers away from your mic. That's about an inch. Okay. That's basically, it's touching your chin hair if you've got them. It's touching your chin hair. You're basically talking at it. You don't want to talk directly into the microphone because that creates something called plosives. These basically pops. So you don't want to talk directly into that mic. You want to talk barely past that mic, like above the mic. You don't want the mic to be directed exactly at you. You want it to be a little bit on an angle. So as you're setting up your microphone, I use a boom arm. That's probably the best way to do it. If you put a mic on your desk, you're going to get the sounds, the frequencies and the sounds and the tapping of your desk to go basically through the stand and into your mic. So I use a boom arm, makes it a little bit better. The boom arm comes around and I place this at an angle, usually about a 45-degree angle. I place it so it kind of comes in toward my mouth, but not 100%. I place it just below my mouth and less than an inch away. Now, if I did it a different way, I want you to hear what it would sound like. This mic, and I'm going to change the technique. Right now, all I've done is it used to be about a half of an inch away from my mouth. Now, it is about 7 inches from my mouth. The only change I made was moving it 6 more inches away. And as I bring it back in and it comes right next to me, it changes so you don't hear the room as much. You can just hear my voice. So as you work on number 2, which is your mic technique, it's going to allow you to be able to sound a lot better. And the scary thing is, I've had clients that came to me, I don't want an ugly mic, quote, I don't want an ugly mic in front of my face for the video. And I'm like, it's not really the video that's the most important. The audio quality is the most important. And if you have a professional mic in front of you, why not show it off? Why not show off this $100 mic that you bought, or this $500 mic you bought, or this $60 mic that you purchased? Why don't you show it off? There's no problem with having a microphone, especially if you're using it right and sounding good. But what is the best kind of mic? Because number 1 is the type of microphone. But we're going to break for a quick commercial and we'll be right back. Hey, my friend, as you know, this episode is sponsored by my company, growyourshow.com. We want you to be able to have the best tools at your disposal without costing you a whole arm and a leg. So right now you can get a free list of vetted equipment that like mics, mixers, webcams, sound treatment, editing software, everything that you need. I created the whole PDF with direct purchase links just to save you time and money, to help it be more convenient for you. So this free PDF will help you skip all the guesswork. If it's on there, it's vetted and approved by yours truly. And if it's not on there, it's probably not worth the money. So go ahead and get yours at growyourshow.com/PDF. Let's get back into the show. It's Adam Adams, your podcast coach, and we are back and trying to figure out what is the best microphone type. What type of microphone? What microphone should I be using, Adam? Well, let's start here. There are two main types of microphones that are easy to buy. The two most common types of microphones are condenser. Feel free to write that down, condenser mic. And after you write it down, cross it out as big as you can. Just put a frowny face next to it, okay? Now, there's also a dynamic microphone. Circle it in green. Do you have a green marker? Grab that green marker and circle the word dynamic a few times. Underline it, maybe write it in caps where it says dynamic. Maybe even put an exclamation mark. Why? Because as soon as you go to Amazon, a lot of people do that. I have done that. And you type in good podcast mic or best podcast microphone. You know what it's going to send you? It's going to send you the top two choices, the first choice and the second choice. They're both going to be condenser microphones. And you already know because you cross that one out, you don't want a condenser microphone. A condenser microphone is extremely sensitive. That's where you're going to hear the neighbors, the dogs barking, the mailman pulling up, the Amazon delivery guy or girl. And that's where you're going to hear all of the echo of the room. So that it's not going to be a crisp, clean sound if you used a condenser microphone, which are the top two options when you go to Amazon. Or one of the, almost half of the people out there say to use a condenser microphone, but it's not going to sound good. It's going to make you have to treat your room a lot better. You're going to have to understand mic technique better than you ever have, better than almost anyone, because it's going to be tough. Most of the people that use a condenser microphone, that's the wrong kind. Most of the people that end up using a condenser, what they have is they have an actual recording studio. And what a recording studio is, it's a room that is built inside of a room that does not touch any of the walls of the room that it's built inside. So how does that work? You take a room, let's say you take your office in the house, and then you put sand, you literally put like 3 inches of sand on the floor. And then what you'll do is you'll frame out, probably with wood, you'll frame out another bedroom that sits flat, level on the sand. And the wall will be about 3 inches from the other wall. It won't anywhere. It won't touch that other wall at all. It won't touch the ceiling and it won't touch the ground. It'll only touch that sand, which should absorb a lot of that sound. So the way that they build these is they build a room inside of a room, and then they treat the recording studio with soundproofing things all over. And then they make sure that nobody else is talking, that they're far away from other people. And that's how they record using a condenser microphone. That is a lot of shit to go through, isn't it? For you to want to use that microphone that you found on Amazon. So think about this. This is one of your calls to action, your CTA. Remember I said hook, story, offer? This is one of the things that I want you to do. I want you to look up your microphone. Maybe pull out your phone now if you have the chance. Maybe pull up to the computer, log in, and type in whatever your microphone is. Look up the model type, not just the brand name, because I use a Shure, and Shure has both types. Shure has condensers and dynamics. Some people might use Audio Technica or an ATR, and Audio Technica has dynamic microphones, and they have also got condenser microphones. So don't just look the brand, look up the actual model, make sure that the picture comes up correctly, and find out, does it say that I'm using a condenser or a dynamic? And if the mic that you're using right now is a condenser mic, then I want you to go to growyourshow.com/PDF. Once you get there, I want you to download the PDF that gives you 5 options for microphones that we've vetted. My team has vetted. And it's going to be clickable links. So on the PDF, if you're on the computer, you can actually click on the microphone. It'll tell you the price right there on the PDF. So you're thinking, oh, you see one for $60. You say, that's within my budget. I don't want to spend 500, but I could spend 60. So you click the button for 60. Or maybe you see the one for $19 and you're like, oh, wow. So I paid $120 for my condenser microphone. And Adam says that this $19 microphone is going to sound better. Hell, yes, it is. It is going to sound at least 5 times better, at least 5 times better than that condenser microphone that you're already using. And it's only $20. So there's a $20 option. The mic that I use is a $250 mic, and it's plenty for me. It's wonderful. It sounds great. I'm happy with it. So you can go through that PDF and you can choose and select a microphone. Remember, again, there's 2 types of microphones. There's condenser, cross it out, and there's dynamic, circle it in green. If you have the right type of microphone and you do some of these other things, like number 1, the type of microphone. That's the most important thing you can do. Number 2, the mic technique, how you use your mic. Number 3, what room you're in. Number 4, if you're using headphones or not. Number 5, the energy that you come across as. Number 6, being natural, be beautiful, be yourself. And number 7, get in the zone before you start recording. Take the breath or whatever you need. And number 8, prepare for the episode. Outline what you're going to talk about, how you're going to start off. What is my hook? What is my story? What is my offer? And I'll see you on the next episode.
This is serious. Don't go. Now that you've gotten whatever value that you feel that you got, the actionable takeaways, you need to implement the stuff that you learned. If you remember me talking about bird church once, and they learn how to fly, and then they walk home, I don't want you to walk home. I want you to fly home. So take the steps, take the actionable steps for your benefit so that you can become a better podcaster. That's the only thing that I ask of you. And I'll see you for more actionable tips on the very next episode.